Welcome to Grandma's Verdict, and we invite you to watch a video with our new original story. I don't understand anything. I don't remember anything. Eliza stopped by the car and turned to Nicholas. He reassuringly stroked her hand. Don't worry. The doctor said you just need to rest, get some fresh air, and let positive emotions do their work. My mother has a cabin, so we'll go there. You'll recover, and you'll remember everything. Do you really think so? And I don't need any more treatment. Of course not. They discharged you, which means everything is fine. Before we continue, I'd like to ask you to like this video, thank you. Enjoy the story. Now you just need to recover, and you'll remember everything. Eliza sighed and got into the car, thinking for the umpteenth time that this man, Nicholas, didn't feel like her husband at all. He didn't appeal to her. But she immediately checked herself. If he's my husband, then I must love him. And that means there's a reason to love him. Eliza closed her eyes. The sun barely penetrated the car's tinted windows. She could even take a nap. Eliza often fell asleep. The weakness throughout her body still lingered. She had regained consciousness almost 2 weeks ago. She had woken up and was immediately frightened. She didn't know where she was, who she was. The doctor had told her that her name was Eliza. She had gotten so nervous that she had a hysterical fit. They gave her a sedative. The next time she woke up, she was already subdued. And that's when she saw Nicholas for the first time. She had looked at him for a long time, hoping that her memory would give her some clue, but no. Only a certain dislike stirred in her soul. Who are you? The man had smiled. I'm Nicholas. Don't you recognize me? I'm your husband. My husband? I'm married. Of course, Liz. We've been married for 5 years. 5 years? Do we have children? No children yet. Liz, just relax. Everything will come back on its own. Don't worry. Now, remembering these words, she realized that she simply couldn't accept that Nicholas was her husband. She wondered what their relationship had been like. Eliza opened her eyes slightly and looked at the man driving. It was strange. She didn't feel well enough to consider herself recovered. But the doctors knew best. Maybe she really did need fresh air instead of hospital walls. The car stopped at a small cabin. All around was grass, flowers, sunshine. Eliza even squinted with pleasure. Maybe Nicholas was right, and she would indeed recover quickly here. My mother's not here right now. She went on a tour with her friends. She can't sit still. So make yourself at home. And you? Am I going to be here alone? Nicholas stood in front of her. Liz, you have to understand the treatment was very expensive. To pay for everything, I simply have to work day and night. And it will definitely be more fun for you here. You'll go crazy in the city within 4 walls. How can you be alone? I'll show you everything, tell you everything, and I'll come to visit myself. Why are you so worried? You're a grown woman, you've just forgotten a little bit. Eliza sighed. She disliked her husband more and more. He spoke as if he were sincerely worried about her. But it felt like he was saying something completely different from what he was thinking. Well, I've shown you everything. Now you're on your own. I don't know when I'll be able to come, but I'll try. I have a very important business trip coming up. Well, I'm off. Don't worry. Nicholas jumped into the car. She's about to start whining now, and he hates it when someone cries. It ruins his mood, and his mood right now should be excellent. Eliza had forgotten everything. The fact that she was about to file for divorce, that she had found him at home with his mistress, and even that she had money, which he would now be using. Tonight, he was flying out with Olivia, the same woman his wife had caught him with, and when he returned, Nicholas hoped very much that without treatment, Eliza's condition would get much worse. Then he would begin the procedure to have her declared incompetent, and then with her money, of course, he would place her in some clinic where she would stay for the rest of her life. People are so naive. He had spun such tales about taking her abroad, to the very best clinic, and she had swallowed it all. They had even prescribed him all sorts of medications for the road. Nicholas, that's right. You have to fight for your wife's health. It's a miracle she survived that accident at all. Take care of her. You'll manage with the medication for 3 or 4 days, and then you'll continue the treatment at the clinic. It's too early to talk about leaving our walls now, of course, but if you're going abroad, then Godspeed. And so he had taken her, only just outside the city, and of course he had connections so no one would ever find her. His mother had acquired this cabin by chance, with Eliza's money, by the way. Well, she didn't know about it, and now she never would. His mother would sometimes have a whim to go to the countryside. True, it would pass quickly, because she couldn't live without modern conveniences. Nicholas smiled. Everything was working out perfectly. The cut-break line had been a stroke of genius. Olivia was a smart girl, of course. She had suggested that he shouldn't cut it completely. An expert would figure it out. You just need to make it look like a tear. Eliza sat on the couch until evening, staring straight ahead. Then she stirred. It was strange, she had just sat down, and it was already getting dark outside. She began to unpack the bag her husband had left her. It was full of groceries. After snacking on some cookies and washing them down with juice, she felt a real surge of energy and decided to go outside. Everything here seemed unfamiliar. In general, it was as if she had never been in the countryside before. Or maybe she really hadn't. She didn't remember anything anyway. Eliza peeked out of the gate. No one. Strange it wasn't late yet, but it seemed as if everyone was already asleep. She went out and then froze. Somewhere very close, someone was singing a lullaby. Eliza's heart ached. It was as if she had heard it somewhere before. Although, how could she remember a lullaby if she didn't remember anything? She took a step towards the singing, then another, and stopped at a fence. In the yard of the neighboring house, a grandmother was rocking a baby in her arms, a very tiny little girl. A little further away, a young man was sitting and making something. Eliza, obeying some inner voice, opened the gate and walked in. The old woman turned from her bench. The little girl immediately slid from her arms and toddled towards her. She came up and held out her little hands. Eliza smiled and picked her up. The girl laid her head on her shoulder and grew quiet. The old woman smiled. Well, look at that. The little rascal has found herself a protector. Hello. Hello. I'm in the house next door. Oh, I see. I was wondering why the doors were banging over there. Did you come for a rest? Well, yes, I suppose so. A young man approached them. Hello, my name is Evan. Have we ever met before? You look very familiar. Eliza shrugged. I don't know. I just got out of the hospital. I lost my memory. The grandmother and the young man exchanged glances. Well, come on in, we'll have some tea. This little magpie won't sleep now anyway. No schedule. The little girl, realizing they were talking about her, looked up, smiled, and wrapped her little arms around Eliza's neck. They sat outside. Daisy, that was the little girl's name, refused to leave the guest's lap, no matter how much her grandmother tried to coax her. She's missed a woman's touch, she sighed. Her mother's been gone for a year now. I don't think she even remembers her. And you? Are you here alone? Yes, my husband brought me, but he has a lot of work. He left. Evan choked. What do you mean he left? You're out of the hospital, you don't remember anything, and he just left you here. Well, yes. That's strange. And you've never been here before, have you? I would have definitely remembered you. And still, I can't understand why your face is so familiar. I've definitely seen you somewhere before, but not here. The grandmother nodded. I think so too, we've met. Eliza was completely flustered, on the verge of tears. I don't remember anything, nothing at all. Don't be upset, everything will be fine. Eliza took a sip of tea. Tell me, you were singing a lullaby, and it seemed to me that I had heard it somewhere before. Evan stood up, then sat down. Wait a minute, Eliza. Grandma, doesn't it seem to you? The old woman gasped. It can't be. Eliza coughed. Ivan jumped up and went into the house. Eliza's head started to ache. She didn't understand what was happening at all. Who was this Croft? She had a completely different last name. Ivan returned with an old album. We used to live in a completely different place. And then our house burned down, and we bought a little house here. When we were little, all our parents would bring their children to Grandma. The kindergarten in our village was closed, and Grandma had worked there her whole life. So the moms would chip in and leave their children with Grandma so they could go to work. And in the village, there were already new, rich houses. They were built by city people who would come for the summer. From one of these houses, a girl named Eliza Croft would always come to us. No matter how much her parents scolded her, no matter what they did, she would always run away to us. She was curious. Then they gave up. And Grandma would always sing this lullaby to the little ones. And you and I would hang out in the barn. I would carve figurines out of wood and teach you. Eliza clutched her head. And then we moved to the city, and my parents died in a car accident, and I never came back to that village again. And I sold the house almost as soon as I came of age, so it wouldn't remind me of them. And my husband, I was going to divorce him. I came home, and there he was with his mistress. I have my own big company. And my husband has been living off me for 5 years. And I also hired a private detective. He was supposed to find out everything about my husband. My God, I remember. I remember everything. My head hurts so much. Eliza jumped up. I need to go to the city. Urgently. Evan and his grandmother exchanged glances. Then Evan said, I'll take you. Just don't get worked up. Which hospital were you in? The one on the waterfront. The whole way, Eliza was silent, and in her head, more and more details were surfacing. Now she had no doubt. Her husband was up to something. She needed to talk to the detective. Eliza was sure he must have found something. I wonder where Nicholas is? Probably at their home with his mistress, fully confident that Eliza won't remember where their house is. Here we are. I'll open the gate now. Evan drove into the yard and got out. Well, Eliza, you're something else. She smiled. She didn't have her keys, but Eliza was always losing them, so there was always a spare on the door. They went in. Nicholas wasn't there. There were some things scattered around the house, as if her husband had been packing in a hurry. Eliza went into the study, entered the code on the safe. Just as she thought, the money was gone. Nicholas must have gone somewhere. She picked up the landline and called the detective. He arrived in 10 minutes. Mrs. Croft, I'm so glad to see you. Your husband told everyone that you were a vegetable after the accident. I have a lot of news for you. And as the detective spoke, Evan's fists clenched tighter and tighter. Then he couldn't take it anymore. I'll kill him and bury him in the dump. Eliza smiled. No, that would be too easy. Evan, have you forgotten? I don't like it when things are simple. Evan smiled. Yes, I still remember with a shudder the patterns of the figurines you made me carve. Nicholas was full of energy, in a good mood, and full of all sorts of plans. Olivia literally filled him with a desire to live beautifully. But now he could afford not just a beautiful life, but a very luxurious one. They would go straight to his place from the airport. Why hide? Sooner or later, Olivia would become the mistress of his house anyway. Nicholas Stone? He looked in surprise at the police officers who were meeting him at the plane's ramp. Yes. What's the matter? And then he saw that they were also approaching Olivia. He didn't have time to say anything before the handcuffs were already clicking on his wrists. What do you think you're doing? You are accused of attempted murder. And then he saw Eliza. And he immediately knew that she was not feeling worse. And he also knew that she remembered everything. Daisy! Daisy! The little girl was running towards her with all her might. Eliza bent down, scooped up the girl, and buried her face in her curls. My sweet girl, I missed you so much. The grandmother looked at the gloomy Evan. He had sworn to her today that he would talk to Eliza and get her to pay less attention to the child. Otherwise, Daisy would get used to it, and when Eliza returned to her normal life, she wouldn't even remember her. But Evan couldn't. Eliza had cut him off right away. I'm not going to forget anyone. Don't be silly. She remembered how indecisive Evan had been as a child. And she remembered that she had always had to push him. She smiled. Evan, are you going to ask me out on a date yourself, or should I do it again? He turned to her sharply. Liz, this isn't funny at all. You're from another world. Really? An alien, Evan? And what if I didn't have any money? She looked at him with interest. Evan smirked. Well then, we would have been together a long time ago. Eliza laughed. So what do you suggest? We give it all away now. Liz, are you serious? Absolutely. Evan grabbed her hand and dragged her to the very house where Nicholas had once brought her. The grandmother, watching them from the window, smiled. Well, thank God, Daisy will have a good mommy. If you enjoyed the story, please support me with a subscribe button. It's just one click, but for me it's very important. Thank you. See you soon.